Sir, may I come in?
Yes, please.
Come.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Sit down. You are
Thank you,
Mr.
Abhijit Ray, sir.
Abhijit Ray. Please sit down. We'll just see your Abhijit Ray. Oh, there you are. Yes, Abhijit. You're from West Bengal.
Yes, sir.
24th Parganas, North. Okay, good. What does your father do? He's in government service.
He retired a few years back.
Acha. What was he otherwise?
He retired as the zonal leprosy officer.
Oh, leprosy officer.
Yes.
Good. And mother also working.
Yes.
So she's a homeopathic medical
Yes, sir.
officer. Great. So you are from Delhi Technological University, Electrical Electronics. You
Yes,
passed out in 2016.
Yes, sir.
So since then, what have you been doing?
So I worked in Texas Instruments in Bangalore
Oh,
for
very
a few
good.
years. And then I have been preparing for the civil services.
Just for a year only?
No, sir. I used to work there for 3.5 years.
3.5 years?
Yes.
Oh, good. So that you must have enjoyed?
Definitely, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
And as a place also, very nice place, Bangalore?
Yes, sir.
Given a choice, you would like to go back there?
As an electrical engineer, sir? Not really, sir. I would want to work as a civil servant.
As civil servant. Oh, great. You write composing reflective poems.
Yes,
That's
sir.
very interesting. Tell me, what exactly are reflective poems? I know poems, but reflective.
So, reflective poems are a reflection of what we think in our mind about incidents or people. For example, I have written about the civil service journey, or the COVID second wave, or when Sachin Tendulkar retired.
Oh.
So, just no specific topic as such. It's just
So you are interested in cricket also. Tell me what you wrote after Tendulkar's retirement. Do you
the
recall?
lines. I recall first few lines, sir.
Okay, tell me.
So the name of the poem was "He came in at 2 down" because he batted at 2 down. The year was 89, the month November. It was a time the world was to remember.
Oh.
For then walked in a man not so tall, bat in hand, and his aim the cricket ball. That's all I remember actually. That
Oh, very good. Good beginning. That's really nice. And what are the more recently have you written any?
Yes, I wrote one a few days back on the Civil Service Day
Oh,
about the
wow.
civil
Few
service
days
journey.
back. Let's see.
Yes,
Let's hear that.
Should I recite that?
Please.
Yes, sir. The name of the poem is An Ode to the Steel Frame.
Oh, good.
So, a test that begins before it even starts, with a syllabus that has never-ending parts. Like a baptism of fire, it deepens your mind, it molds you to be firm, it teaches you to be kind. And in this long battle, if you do make it, remember to be humble and kind, but do not fake it. Remember that a nation earns for your duty. It's a privilege to serve. Isn't that the real beauty? The road will not be smooth. It never has been. They may try to slow you with questions not foreseen. Fall you not prey to their treacherous game, but let your spine add strength to Sardar's steel frame. And if you begin to question if that frame has rusted, remember to redeem that glory you have been trusted. So fight like a soldier and enjoy your duty, because it's a privilege to serve, and that's the real beauty.
Oh, really? Very good. I wish, I hope they ask you to recite this. That itself will take you across the board. That's really great.
Thank you, sir.
No, very nice, very interesting. You do recreational cycling. What is it? Is it stationary cycling?
No, sir. It's just cycling, which is for recreational purposes. No specific purpose as such. For example.
No, but how can you recreational purpose? That means you are alone. Nobody
with
else.
Friends or alone.
Friends.
Mostly with friends, with some neighbors.
Sure, that is something quite.
It's as against utility cycling, which people do, for example, to go shopping or something like that.
So you have been in Delhi for quite some time. Your father was posted here, is it?
No, sir. He was in West Bengal government. He was.
But then, how come? For example, you did your schooling also here, Kalkaji Public School.
Yes, sir. 11th and 12th I have done in Delhi because I wanted to take coaching at that time for the IIT Joint Entrance Exam.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Coaching in Delhi.
Yes.
Acha. Okay. Now, your first preference is IFS.
Administrative, sir, IAS.
Oh, is it?
Second
oh,
is
sorry.
FS.
Maybe. Second. Yeah, correct. There are too many. They say, okay, good. Why you are not opted for police service? Why are you against?
Sir, I will not meet the physical criteria, sir. I have
What is the
flat feet.
height or what?
Its height is just about it, but I have flat feet, sir.
Oh.
As much as I wanted
That's
to, I
the
won't.
important consideration, is it, in police? No, what
Yes,
is
sir.
the idea that you can't run fast, is it?
Yes.
Huh? That is, if you have flat foot, you can't run fast.
Apparently, I can, but the technical criteria
I know,
is you shouldn't have flat feet.
technically speaking, that is what. This year's, yourself, so you have mentioned. Otherwise, in the medical, they see that, is it? Huh? Flat foot देखते हैं.
हाँ बिल्कुल देखते हैं हाँ IFS में भी नहीं
फॉरेस्ट में भी नहीं है. You are quite like police service, वो तो, yeah. Okay, firstly, that means second is foreign service. Anyway, second, then you are not opted for few of them. Why?
So all those are technical services which fall under the IPS, the railway protection, and the other one. All these are technical
on the same
services.
ground you are not
Same
eligible.
ground, yes, sir. Those are three I have not opted for.
So your choice get restricted.
Yes, sir.
No, that's all right. That doesn't, matter really. Because IAS is there, police, foreign service is there. Very good. Suppose you join foreign service, you'll have to learn one foreign language, you know that.
Yes, sir.
Which one would you choose and why?
I would choose French. I mean, if given a choice. I'm not sure.
You have to pick
Okay.
up.
So I would choose French, sir. The reason is it's a very sweet language. I like to hear it. There's no specific reason apart from that. It's just
No, where all can you use the knowledge of French? There are a number of countries where French is spoken, understood. Can you name them?
so Equatorial Guinea is one country that I remember.
It's a small,
Yes, sir. I can't recall any others. I have to read up on
so many of them are there.
So I'll have to read up.
In Canada you have,
Right.
the whole province. Mauritius they have. They speak French. And quite a lot of people. There are a number of countries. It's a good choice, French that way. Good. Now, are you comfortable with, have you seen economic survey?
The latest one?
Yeah?
I have had a cursory glance. Yes.
Good. First tell me, what is the purpose of this economic survey? Religiously, every year we bring out one day before the budget.
So it's a snapshot of what's going on in the economy for that fiscal year, for the previous fiscal year, and a roadmap for what we can do in the next year. It's also an indication to the industry and to the common man as to what the government has in mind going ahead for the next fiscal year. I think that would be the purpose in a nutshell.
Quite a useful document, no?
It can be useful for the people who want to read up on it. Yes, sir.
You read last year's survey also?
I did, sir.
You did. There was some discussion, I think last year or year before, about migration within the country. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Do you recall anything in that? I thought that was a very well written.
I recall one thing, that the inter-district migration was more than the interstate migration, as per the statistics. I also, I don't know if it was in the last economic survey, but there was
I
a
think
talk of
last.
the demographic.
Arvind Subramanian's last, it was, I think.
So there was talk of the demographic dividend being different in different
Very
states.
good. Yes.
So there was a talk of some states need to have migration inside, as some states have to export their migrants. So I remember something on those lines.
That's true. But you vaguely remember the states where migration will take place?
I remember the states from where it will take place. It is Bihar, UP, especially the northern states, because they have a TFR more than 2.1. But it's the southern states which are aging.
Yeah.
So they would require more people coming in. That's the basic basic idea that I can remember. Yes.
Very good. Now in this year's survey, there's a discussion about GDP growth.
Right. Right.
Also talk of K-shaped growth. What is K-shape?
So K-shaped growth is a form of economic growth where different sectors grow at different rates. Talking about our economy, it's the service sector, which is expected to grow better than, let's say, the manufacturing and the agricultural sector. So one of the outcomes of this is it increases inequality in our economy. And it's not something that we would ideally want to have. We would want all the sectors to grow at the same rate, but as the economy has turned up after the pandemic, it's a K-shaped growth, sir.
Good. You mentioned something about demographic dividend.
Right, sir.
Obviously, you know what it is. Okay. Now tell me, you compare India and China.
Right.
Okay, today, and then India and China after 25 years.
Right.
Now, in terms of demographic dividend, now today's scenario, which country is better off, India or China?
India has a lower average population than China, and also the World Population Prospects report says that India will overtake China in a few years. Sir, I would say, but we have to see the other side of the coin, that is in terms of skills. They are better, I would say, overall if we see. So as of today, China has a bigger advantage, but going ahead, if we...
No, you are missing the point. I am
sir.
talking purely from the demographic point of view, demographic dividend point of view.
Right, sir.
Compare India and China today, India and China 25 years hence. Purely demographic dividend.
So I know that India's average age, like I said, is lesser, but the percentage of population below that average age for China, I'm not sure of the exact number, sir. I would say that going ahead, it will be India, when India overtakes China and has a lower average population age. Apart from that, sir, exact details I'll have to read up on.
It's the other way around. Today, China has more aged population
Right, sir.
than the active population.
Right, sir.
It's virtually vertical.
Right, sir.
While in India case, the
Pyramid.
active population is much more than aged population today. But in another 25 years, Indian population is not going to grow that fast. And while people expectancy is going up, so more old people will be there. More active population will be much less. While in the case of China, now they are asking them to have more than one children.
Right, sir.
More than one child.
Yes, sir.
They are giving incentive.
Right, sir.
So they will have more active population compared to the old people.
Right, sir.
So it's the other way. Now you get it. Today we have a demographic dividend because the ratio of active population to senior citizen or old people is not that bad today. But in future it will be almost not 1:1, but almost it will not be all that favorable. Today 4 young people can support one senior citizen. A stage may come when 2 or 3 people will be needed to support. One.
May I make an observation on this, sir? So, recently we had the National Family Health Survey as well, which talked about the sex ratio being more than 1020. So, it's...
For India?
Yes, sir.
Now at the moment?
Yes, sir. 1020.
Acha, that is quite revealing. I didn't know. 120.
Yes,
but
sir.
Which are the states which is really contributing?
So, that I'm not sure, sir.
No, you must look into, because southern state is going down.
So, there was, what I wanted to say was, there was a talk about
and
focusing
in Haryana and
yes,
all, the sex ratio is very unfavorable.
Yes, sir.
About 870 to 1000.
Right, sir.
So given that you are saying 1020,
yes, sir.
That means in some of the states, the male population must be much more. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
130 are the female population. Yeah. Achha, that's interesting. Okay, now 15th Finance Commission.
Right, sir.
Because of population, I am tempted to ask you this. What is the reference year they took for population?
2011, sir.
Not 1971.
No, sir.
What is the implication of that?
So the implication of that is states which worked very hard to reduce the population, who did so they have a fear of losing out. But then to balance this thing, the Finance Commission also brought in one of the factors called demographic performance, which has a particular weight. Yes, sir, that would be the...
Okay, now let me stretch it to election of a president. We are going to have election.
Right, sir.
Presidential election. So the population matters there? How?
Sir, I don't quite recall the number of it, sir.
No. I'm talking of principle, not the numbers. In the presidential election, does the population of a state matters?
Sir, I'll not be able to answer that, sir. I don't recall.
What does proportional representation mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, I recall now.
Each vote of a MP or a MLA or whatever, it is a weighted thing.
Yes, sir.
Depending upon their population.
Population of the state, yes, sir.
So a MP from UP will command much more than a MP from Tamil Nadu or Kerala or whatever. You follow.
Right.
If you take latest population, that's why they take 1971 population for all these things, critical thing. Even allocation of Lok Sabha members, etc. If you go by population, then UP and Bihar will corner, while
Right, sir.
southern states and others who have done well in family planning, they may lose out. So this population factor is very important, and the critical which year you take as a reference. Okay, what are the other recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission?
So the 15th Finance Commission said that the horizontal devolution should be 41% of
From
the total.
42, they brought it to 41. Why?
So they put 1% for the newly formed Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, since Union Territories have their own.
Correct.
So that's one that I can remember. Other things, they also talked about the revenue deficit grants. That was in one of their terms of reference. So and so they also worked on the conditional transfers to urban and rural local bodies. They brought in new conditions. For example, I remember one where post 2025, any of the rural local bodies that have not worked on, or the state that has not acted upon the State Finance Commission recommendations, will not be getting
Who headed
grants.
this?
Mr. N.K. Singh, sir.
N.K.
As
Singh.
far as I remember. Yes,
He was heading another committee also.
FRBM
Wow,
review
correct.
committee.
What is FRBM?
Sir, it's a committee. It's recommendations on
No,
the
what is the full form of FRBM?
financial. Sir, I'm sorry, sir.
Financial? Yeah, fiscal.
Fiscal review and
Not review, responsibility
sorry, sir. Ma'am. Yes, sir.
and budget management.
Thank you, sir.
So it talks of deficit. Tell me, what are the various concepts? What is fiscal deficit? What is revenue deficit?
So revenue deficit is the expenditure that we have minus the revenue that the government gains.
And fiscal?
Fiscal deficits also includes.
Also.
Sir, I'll have to read up on it. Sir.
You read up, huh?
Yes,
And
sir.
what is the extent of deficit assumed in the budget?
So as of this year, it's 6.9% fiscal
6.9.
deficit.
Now you think deficit is always a bad thing?
No, sir, it's not.
When can it be good?
So it can be good when the deficit basically is used to create infrastructure.
Very good. Rather than consumption.
Rather
If you
than
just dole away,
Yes,
give
sir.
everybody this much money, this thing,
Yes.
that will not create any asset. So that's good. Now, a bit about RBI, monetary policy. What is this monetary policy business?
So RBI has a clear mandate of maintaining the monetary stability, basically the inflation rates. So 4% plus minus 2% is their clear mandate. So they roll out counter-cyclical monetary policy to sort of take in the excess liquidity or inject liquidity in the market. So the entire policy framework that it brings out is the monetary policy based
No,
on that.
but today, what is the rate of inflation? It's there in the paper.
Yes, so it's more than 6%. It's
That is retail. Wholesale is
so I'm not aware of that.
14 plus. It's quite disturbing.
Yes.
Now when they measure inflation, how do they do it?
They have a basket of consumption goods which
Commodities,
keeps changing
yeah.
from year to year.
And then it's a weighted average.
Yes, sir.
Remember, this is very important. The sort of weights they give to various commodities matters. So what can RBI do now? Can they do anything about it?
So the last monetary policy meeting, they kept the repo rates and the reverse repo same, but they brought in something called standing deposit facility to bring in to absorb the excess liquidity in the market.
Very good. So what happened? Now are they doing any such thing?
So the banks have a incentive now to park their money with the RBI based on the SDF. So that's all I can remember on this actually.
Okay. You remember anything on income tax side in the budget? What the government had announced? Anyway, what I want to know is from the point of view of ease of living. You understand ease of living. There are one or two pronouncements in the budget, income tax aspect. So can you mention those one or two aspects which will make our life easy?
So in this latest budget, sir?
Latest ease of living, yeah.
Sir, I remember for startups. I don't remember for individuals, sir.
No?
Cess and surcharge for the capital. I'm sorry, sir. I'm just trying to recall random
Faceless
things.
assessment.
Yes, sir. Faceless
That is a
assessment.
big relief.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to face any. They cannot summon you. You don't have to go and meet them and all.
Yes, sir.
They'll, based on whatever is available, they will assess and take a decision, be done with it. That is quite a relief, no?
Yes, sir.
So that,
But was it brought this year, sir? I'm not aware.
Sorry?
Was it brought this year, sir?
Yeah, this year it's highlighted. Yeah, I think this year only. And now, you know, they are virtually filling in our returns, virtually. There is one section, 26 IAS, I think, wherein your all travel, everything is recorded nowadays. Because of linking of PAN, Aadhaar and all that, all your transaction, everything is credit. They know if you are going abroad or whatever, if you have withdrawn more than 50,000, any transaction above 50,000, they know. And all your incomes, this, that. So it's a good thing.
Right, sir. Good one. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Abhijit,
Yes, sir.
electrical and electronics engineer. Okay. Can you name some engineers whom you are very proud of?
Mr. Arvind Saxena, who was the UPSC chairman, he was an engineer from our college.
Okay.
Then Mr. Vinod Dham, he was also from our college. He was the founder of the Pentium chip.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, Sundar Pichai.
Huh?
Sundar Pichai, sir.
Okay, Sundar Pichai.
There are many more. These are the three that I can remember right now.
Or related with civil, related with mechanical, and who else? Civil में बताएं.
So, I can't recall any civil engineer, sir. I can't recall.
Sir Vishwesaraya. What is his name? Full name?
I don't know, sir. Sir,
Sir
M. Viswesaraya.
Mokshagundam Vishwesaraya.
Right, sir.
Sir. Metroman. Who is Metroman?
Sir, I can't recall his name.
Mechanical engineering.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Lieutenant General Manoj Pandey.
Yes, sir. Engineer Corps. He's the first chief of army staff from the engineer corps, sir.
Okay. So electrical and electronics engineering. Okay. Let me start with electrical engineering. So you might have heard about green hydrogen fuel electric vehicles. Have you heard about?
Yes.
So there are so many limitations with the electrical vehicles.
Right, sir.
But some of these limitations are solved if at all we use green hydrogen electric vehicles. At least some of them will be solved. So which are those which can be solved if at all we use green hydrogen fuel electric vehicles?
So, there is always a concern of range of electrical vehicles.
That's right, yeah.
So, if we have a hybrid system of green hydrogen as well as electric EV,
Okay.
then if the EV battery runs out, then it can run alternatively on the green
Okay, that
hydrogen.
is different thing, alternatively. So otherwise, how much can it go in? Can it move in one go if we use car?
In a normal car, sir?
Not normal car,
EV car.
green hydrogen electric car.
Sir, I am not aware of the exact range, sir.
650 kilometers.
Thank you, sir.
And how much charging time will it take if it is a green hydrogen
Sir, I'm not aware.
electric vehicles?
I'm not aware.
Okay. Our Honorable Minister Road Transport and Highways has signed an MOU with whom to produce green hydrogen electric vehicles, and he has started using that vehicle also. So who is manufacturing in our country that green hydrogen electric vehicles?
So, I think it was Reliance Industries. I don't remember the exact.
Anyway, Toyota Kirloskar. So
Sorry,
Toyota Kirloskar,
Okay, sir.
Toyota Mirai we can say. So he has signed the MOU with Toyota Kirloskar and International Center for Automotive Technology to produce these vehicles.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. So related with electronics, OFC. You know OFC? On which principle OFC works?
So, not.
Optical fiber communication,
Okay, sir.
optical
Optical
fiber
fiber,
cable,
yes, sir.
you can say. So on which principle it works?
So, it works on the principle of total internal
So
reflection.
what is that total internal reflection?
So there is a particular angle called critical angle,
Yeah.
beyond which if a ray goes from a denser medium to a lower medium, to a less dense medium, and if the angle of incidence is more than the critical angle, then there will be no refraction.
Very right. Okay, good enough.
Thank you, sir.
So now, National Electronics Policy, are you aware of National Electronics Policy?
Yes, sir.
Now
So,
tell me the salient features of National Electronics Policy.
So it wants to make India a hub of electronics manufacturing. So we have taken steps in that direction. For example, the recent semiconductor mission, where the capital expenditure, 50% of the capital expenditure for installing a new semiconductor fab has been sponsored by the government. So some companies have shown interest for that.
What is National Supercomputing Mission?
So it's I think it was from Niti Aayog, a set of policy principles which want to make India a hub of supercomputing.
Can you name some supercomputers which are being used in weather forecasting?
So Pratyush,
Yeah. Pratyush Mihir. Where are these installed? You are right.
Sir, in Pune, I think.
Pune, which one?
I'm not sure. So
Pratyush. And Mihir?
Sir, I'm not sure of which one is where.
Noida.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So cryptocurrency. You tell me, what do you mean by cryptocurrency and how does it differ with other digital currencies? Number one. Number two, which are the risks involved in using cryptocurrency? And number three, whether at all we require global framework for regulating cryptocurrency. 3 questions. Clear? What do you mean by cryptocurrency? How does it differ with other digital currencies? 1. Number 2, risks involved in using cryptocurrency. Number 3, whether at all we need global framework for regulating cryptocurrency.
So cryptocurrency is a sort of medium of exchange which works on the principle of blockchain.
Blockchain. So number one thing, blockchain. What else? So blockchain, what does it do?
It's a we can think of it as a decentralized ledger system.
Distributed ledger.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, decentralized,
So,
you can call it. What
basically-
else? No, bus, good enough.
Right, sir.
Next. Why do we call it crypto?
So because because there is a hash function based I'm forgetting the name. It starts with encryption mechanism.
Encryption mechanism.
Yes,
That's why cryptocurrency.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now come to that very point. Which are the risks involved in using cryptocurrency?
So the first risk is volatility because there is no underlying asset. So it is extremely volatile. So it's basically based on the scarcity of it. So the second risk is it's outside the purview of any centralized monitoring system. So no one really knows who is exchanging what from whom. And the third risk I would say is something that's happening today is people are jumping into this without knowing the risks. That I would say is a bigger risk than the other two.
So can we say it may lead to terror financing? It may lead to money laundering also?
Yes, sir, definitely.
These are the risks involved.
Definitely,
Now
yes,
come to that very point. Whether at all we need global framework to regulate cryptocurrency?
Yes, I think we do. I would say that we don't need a national framework. We would better do with a global framework. So because
India alone can't handle that problem.
yes, so as of today.
Okay, Ayush Visa. Your mother is homeopathic medical officer. Yeah, you tell me what do you know about Ayush Visa?
It's a recent policy pronouncement of the government, which basically wants to give visas.
When was it announced? Was some delegation from abroad visited our country?
Yes, the WHO chief.
WHO chief he visited. So
Yes.
Ayush Visa. Huh? And what was the name given to WHO chief by our Honorable Prime Minister?
It's something in Gujarati, so I'm forgetting.
Bhai is Gujarati and Tulsi is the medicinal plant. Tulsi
Yes, sir.
Bhai.
Tulsi Bhai. Yes, sir.
Anyway, our Honorable Finance Minister says, who is Finance Minister?
Miss Nirmala Sitharaman.
That's right. She says, we want to be West's friend, but we need Russia too. Jara elaborate करें इसको. We want to be West's friend, W-E-S-T, West's friend, but we need Russia too.
So this is reflective of India's balancing game that we have to play because we have interests both on the West as well as in Russia. For the West, we are I would say, dependent because of trade as well as for defense agreements. And for Russia, we are again for defense. 70% of our defense, 60% of our defense imports come from Russia. So what the Honorable Finance Minister has said has been reflective of what India's stance has been.
What is this Jim Trinity?
So it's the Jan Dhan bank account, Aadhaar, and the mobile, which basically wants to increase financial inclusion. So the idea is that these three things are very important to increase financial inclusion of.
What do you mean by inclusive growth?
A form of growth where you take in the lowest rung as well as the highest rung together and have growth. Basically, it's where development happens across the board, sir.
What do you mean by inclusive growth index? And by whom it is prepared, and what are the basic parameters on which it is prepared?
Sir, I'll have to read up on it, sir.
Okay, no problem. So now come to little bit towards history. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. You know Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav?
Yes, sir.
Since when we can say our Prime Minister inaugurated Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav?
I'm sorry, sir.
Anyway, it was 12th of March. So why 12th of March could it be? 12th of March 2021, it was inaugurated. It started from 21st of March 2021. So,
may I guess, sir?
Yeah.
I think Mahatma Gandhi came to India on that day.
No, Mahatma Gandhi, another March. Which march by Mahatma Gandhi on 12th of March?
The Dandi March, sir.
Dandi March.
Right,
so
sir.
he started Dandi March on this very day. Another reason was that 75 weeks were left for Azadi Ka Mahotsav, 75th Independence Day. These were the two reasons.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, when do we observe National Panchayat Day?
Sir, I'm not
Recently
sure.
we have
Recently
observed.
we did, sir.
Where was our Prime Minister? In Jammu and Kashmir, in Jammu we can say.
Right, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
So on National Panchayat Day only.
Sir.
Okay, do we have any country in the world which is not only carbon neutral but carbon negative?
If I have to guess, can I guess, sir? I think it would be Bhutan.
It is Bhutan. What could be the reasons? Even if you not have read, that is not a question of guessing. That is a question of whether at all you know about the geography, about other things, energy sources and all that about Bhutan, then you can answer that question. It doesn't mean that you have to guess. No. If you know about Bhutan little bit, then you can tell me that these might be the reasons that it has become not only carbon neutral but carbon negative.
I would have to guess, sir. So.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay.
That's not the guess. If you know about Bhutan little bit, then you can tell.
Okay,
even if you have not read answer of this question specifically.
So they have more forests than they have.
That's right. Forest cover. I think 75-80%. Yeah, good. What
Thank you,
else?
Less cars.
Less cars. Chalo, acha. Next. Important one. What about the energy source? What is the energy source there?
Sir, renewable, hydroelectric.
Hydroelectric
Yes, sir.
mainly.
Yes, sir.
Is Bhutan exporting hydroelectric energy to other countries?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So they are getting carbon credit for that.
Right, sir.
So these are some of the reasons that Bhutan has become carbon negative. Only country in the world. Now come to our country. Is there any place in our country which is carbon neutral or which has become carbon neutral recently?
Sir, again, I'll have to guess.
Yeah.
Sikkim, is it, sir?
No. Honorable Prime Minister was in Panchayat of Jammu and Kashmir, because of that reason only, that he was celebrating that National Panchayat Day on that very day, and on that very day only that Palli Panchayat became carbon neutral. Why? Because a solar plant was dedicated to the nation.
Right,
500 kilowatt power, something like that, 500. I don't remember exactly what that was. Anyway, now my another question: whether at all, always the civil servants were recruited through competitive examination? Whether at all in the history They were always recruited through competitive examination. If not, then how were they recruited when this was the at particular time this was the provision, at that time this was the provision, like that? Can you tell me?
I think it was the 1853 Act which wanted to bring in more merit-based appointments.
Right, you are. So up
Before-
to
yes, sir.
1854, the civil servants were
Nominated by the
nominated by
Board of Directors.
No, Board
By
of
the,
Directors of East India Company.
Yes, sir.
They were nominated. Good enough.
Thank you, sir.
And after that, what happened?
Uh,
Now come to 1854. What happened? 1855.
Sir,
Competitive examination for civil servants started.
but no Indians were allowed till 18.
Yeah. So who was the first Indian to come into civil services? ICS first. Who was?
Surendranath Tagore.
Mr. Surendranath Tagore, brother of Mr. Ravindranath Tagore. So 1864.
Yes, sir. 18.
And then when examination was started in India?
1922, sir.
1922, that's right. So now again what has happened? There is a lateral entry of civil servants. You know about lateral entry. So now you tell me whether at all the system of having competitive examination, that is good, or lateral entry of the civil servants is good, or there should be combination of both. What is your take on it?
That's a very interesting question, sir.
Yeah, please tell me. Go ahead.
So I think one of the things that separates or distinguishes the civil service from the other services is the ground level experience that people have, and that is only possible if there is recruitment via the UPSC. So lateral entry, the reason why we brought it is because we wanted expertise, but I think going ahead there can be a mechanism where I'll refer to what Dr. Subbarao mentioned in his interview, that people should have, the civil servants should have the option of specialization. It should not be mandatory, but it should be optional.
Okay.
So he said that could gradually reduce the need for lateral entry, because
And what is your take on it? What Mr. Subbarao has said?
I think it
Because
makes,
my specific question was,
Yes,
what is your take on it? Whether at all we should go for a combination of both, whether we should go only for competitive examination, or whether at all we should go only for lateral entry.
so as of today, I think we should go for a combination of both, because we have shortage of IAS officers at the center as well. And
Now,
we need,
shortage can be met by competitive examination also. There is no problem. Shortage, shortage is there, no doubt. About 22% IAS shortage is
Yes.
there. Similarly for IPS and other services also that's there. But that can be done through competitive examination. So shortage cannot be the issue.
right, sir.
What
And
else?
the expertise, the need of expertise today is should be met by the lateral entry, but going forward, there should be an option, or there should be more specialization for civil servants. The option should be there, sir. Because in civil service, it's always you enter as a generalist and then you try to become a specialized person. In the private sector, it's different.
Okay,
Where I
thank
came
you.
from. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, Abhijit,
Good afternoon, sir.
good afternoon. Now tell me, recently the Prime Minister was in Red Fort in a function, I think 4 or 5 days back, not more than that. Do you know
No, sir,
something
no,
about
sir,
it? Don't know.
No, sir.
He was in Red Fort. A week ago.
I'm not aware.
You are not aware of it. Okay. Then. Acha. Now you tell me, what is chicken's neck?
So chicken's neck refers to the, the original thing is the neck of the chicken is the most vulnerable part.
that's
But chicken's neck normally refers to the narrow strip of land, the 23-kilometer strip of land that's there in the place where I come from, Siliguri. It's the most vulnerable point which joins the northeast part of the country to the Indian mainland. So if that is taken over, then we'll have some issues. Sir. That's why it's called.
Okay. Why it was in news for last 2-3 years? It is in news.
One reason would be the Doklam issue.
Doklam issue. What is Doklam issue?
So Doklam is a tri-junction region between India, Nepal and Bhutan.
India?
India, Bhutan and China. China wanted to capture the region and India, being a protectorate of Bhutan, wanted to intervene and prevent that from happening. As of today, it's an ex post facto anti. It was the situation is as it was before the incursion. Yes, sir.
Who is the owner of that tri-junction area?
It's Bhutan, sir.
Huh?
You mean the country, sir?
No, that tri-junction on which the problem, the dispute is there.
Right, sir.
Who is the owner of that land?
I think it's Bhutan, sir.
I think it is Bhutan. And what are the other areas where we have some problem with China besides Doklam?
If we see to the east of Doklam, we have the McMahon line, the Arunachal Pradesh issue, and then there is of course in Aksaichin region the Johnson line, which is debated by India and Pakistan, India and China. So these would be some of the
These
regions.
two places. We had some problem with China in Galwan, no?
Yes, sir.
Galwan.
Yes, sir. It's the Aksaichin region, sir.
It's Aksai Chin region.
Yes.
So in Galwan, the problem is it over or is it continuing?
It's not over, sir. Our honorable foreign minister also said that the relations between the two countries is abnormal, quote unquote, because of this reason. It's a de-escalation process that is continuously going on because high-level military officers are meeting regularly. So it's a work in progress, sir. It's not completely over.
So right now the de-escalation is going on there?
Yes, sir. Yes,
What is the difference between disengagement and de-escalation?
Disengagement, sir, is I think the first process where the conflict, a heavy physical fighting, that is reduced, that is disengagement, and then de-escalation would be the reduction of tensions.
Reduction of?
Tension, sir.
Tension.
For lack of a better word.
Okay. And what are the other point of concern in that area, Galwan area? What are the other areas where there is some problem with China?
Sir, India, I think, wanted to build a road towards Daulat Beg Oldie, the runway, which China objected.
What's that area known as?
I'm sorry, sir. I just know the name of the runway, sir.
Not runway, that area where there is some problem.
The
Where
Galwan-
Daulat Beg Oldie is existing, where
Right, sir.
it is located, that is a plain area. What is that area known as?
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. And what are the other areas? You don't have any idea?
My country.
Okay. Okay. Tell me, there is some area in that area only. There is some land which has been given to China by Pakistan, which is legitimately Indian land. What is that land known as? That portion.
North of, I think it's northeast of Gilgit-Baltistan is, I think, so what you're talking about, from where the CPEC passes.
Then
I
the
don't
area
know.
has a specific name, no?
Yes, sir.
You don't
I'm
know.
unable to recall it. I'm sorry. I'm unable to
Oh,
recall it.
you don't know much about it. Who has written Sei Samay?
Sorry, sir.
Sei Samay, there is a Bengali book, na?
Shei Shumai?
Sei Samay.
I'm sorry, sir. I
You don't know?
I don't recall.
It's a quite important book.
I'll definitely read up on it, sir.
Sei Samay, you don't know. Okay, yeah, tell me something about this Bengal violence. This Bengal violence was also in news only one day before.
Right, sir.
What happened? What happened? Delhi was, in news, and Bengal was in news. What had happened?
I think the Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal visited Delhi. He's, I think, today returning back to West Bengal. So it was in news a few days back because of I think a rape incident happened.
No, Bengal violence, I'm specifically talking about the violence which occurred after the elections were over.
Right, sir.
After elections were over, there were 12 or 13 people killed.
That was Birbhum, I think you're talking
No. Birbhum is a different story. I'm talking about West Bengal assembly elections. After the assembly elections were won by the Trinamool Congress, then there was violence in some parts. And a lot of migration and a lot of people fled that area, no?
I'm not aware of the
You are not
migration,
aware.
sir.
So
I
in
remember
that
some people
context,
died.
there was something happened yesterday.
I'm not sure exactly.
You
if it's
don't
related.
know about it.
I don't know, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, what is the most important fish in Bengal?
Fish. It depends whom you ask. It's hilsa, which
It's a
is
hilsa.
Yes, sir.
So why you get? Does the Bengal have enough hilsa to feed its people, or?
No, sir. It's the hilsa. It's basically a seawater fish which migrates to the rivers to spawn. So it's mostly in Bangladesh that the hilsa is available. Bengal has deficit of hilsa for its people.
Which are the area where Bengal hilsa is breeding, hilsa breeding, or hilsa is reared, or you get hilsa? Which are those areas?
It's after the Faraka barrage, sir. Because Faraka barrage was in the news because of the fish bridges that were tried to be considered for this specific reason, that we wanted hilsas to come upstream so that Bengal fishermen could fish.
So, but how? Because there is a Faraka barrage.
Right,
how
sir.
it can come upward?
I'm not aware of the exact dynamics, sir, but I think they're trying to construct a fish passage sort of a thing. I'm not aware of the exact dynamics, sir.
Okay.
But it's not working, definitely.
It's not working.
It's what is in the news.
It's not working. Now tell me something about Teen Biga. What is Teen Biga? Teen Biga, there is an issue. There was some issue. Teen Biga.
I'm sorry, sir.
You are not aware. In Kuch Bihar.
In Kuch Bihar, there is a statehood demand, is what I know.
No, statehood demand. No.
No, sir.
I'm not talking about Kantapuri. I'm talking about Teen Biga issue. There was some problem. Anyway, now my last question would be to you: why Bengal is still lacking in industrial development? I mean, all other states are developed, but Bengal, despite so many MOUs being signed and this and that, but still the investment is not coming up properly. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes.
And there is not much of investment in Bengal, which was a leading state in industrial section.
Yes.
It was a leading state, but now nobody is investing over there.
Yes.
What is the reason? What is your idea?
So it's a little long answer, because we have post independence also the decline started, because obviously the first thing is the jute areas went to Bangladesh. We just had the industries. So there was lack of raw material. Then there was the issue of migrants who came in from Bangladesh because of the violence or the 1971 war and related issues. Then there was, in 1980s, there was something called the Freight Equalization Scheme, which was brought out to incentivize industries to have their base in areas that were not resource plentiful. So West Bengal lost out because of that, because industry shifted out. Then of course you had political ideology which was not very industrial friendly for 34 years. That was one. But sir, very recently, since 2011, there has been a change, but still industries are not coming up. Primarily, I would say, is because of the climate of the ease of doing business part is sort of okay, but it's the political climate which is inhibiting the industry.
So basically, primarily you want to say that the political climate is not conducive. So that is one of the important
It could
reasons.
be argued, yes, sir. That's the reason.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So Abhijit,
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. You have your option as history.
No, sir. Anthro.
Anthropology.
Ji, sir.
No, it is.
Oh, it's written history here.
No, sir.
Acha, that is why we were more. That's good.
That's my DAF, right? It's written history.
Yeah, it's, by hand they are written.
Oh no, sir. It's
By
anthropology.
mistake somebody has written.
No, that is the.
Which is why I think a lot of history questions were asked.
that is that.
Yeah, I was wondering why.
Yes. That
It
is
was
why.
Very nice questions, though.
So what about this Ukraine and Russia?
Yes, sir.
Very hot topic.
Still hot topic, unfortunately, sir. Yes, sir. It's still going on. It's probably trying to enter, I think, the third month. And as of the recent developments, I think there is a steel plant which I think Russia is eyeing. It's in Mariupol. So it's a conflict that's still going on.
What are the aims of Russia? Aims of war of Russia and
Russia?
aims of West and America. Let it be very clear.
Right. So the aims of Russia is to demilitarize and bring out a situation where the Donbas region, which is a breakaway region from Ukraine, it has been alleged that there are anti-Russian elements there. So the entire war has been justified based on trying to demilitarize and create a situation which is conducive for Russian security. The West obviously aims for a situation where there is no war, And so I would also like to add India's stance. India has played a tight balancing role, and India wants a cessation to the armed conflict, but India is not supported any party either way. So that would be my
And recently they have some specific type of the bombing.
carpet bombing. You mean, sir?
Carpet bombing is one. Then the chemical.
I'm not aware of the specifics. I'm not aware of the specifics, but I heard that
phosphorus bombing.
chemical bombing. No, sir, I'm not aware.
What is phosphorus bombing?
Sir, I think phosphorus is used because it is it's a element which burns very vigorously when it is put on any surface or skin. That's why it's a weapon of choice, you might say, for bombing. Sir.
And what are biological weapons?
It's pathogens, basically, either naturally available or mostly it is designed for bombing into an area so that the pathogen takes over the region and the health services fail.
Can you tell me the difference between Dn and Rna?
So qualitative.
Very basic difference.
So one is deoxyribo, one is ribonucleic. I think there is an oxygen. It's the pentose sugar, basically, the structure of which differs. And sir, RNA is more prone to destruction in high temperatures, and while DNA is not. That would be one qualitative difference. Specifically, apart from that difference, I'm not aware, sir.
What about virus? Different. Bacteria and virus?
So RNA virus is, you're talking about RNA versus DNA virus? So RNA virus mutates faster, is the general understanding. And bacteria, sir, is a living organism by itself. Well, whereas a virus is not a living organism, it gets its life when it comes into a human body. That's what I know. And antibiotic works against bacteria, it doesn't work against virus.
You must have studied evolution in anthropology.
Yes.
What is neo-Darwinism?
It's the synthetic evolution theory, which is more of the. It tries to explain evolution from a gene pool change perspective. That's in a nutshell. Sir, it talks about. So I'm unable to recall the specifics, sir.
What are the different process? First thing this, then how the.
So genetic mutation is the source of all changes. Then you have natural selection, which works on it, on a gene pool. You have migration, inbreeding, and hybridization are processes. Basically, you have mating inside a population or outside. And then you have something where there is a random change in genetic material. I'm sorry, I'm unable to recall the terms.
Suppose the government of West Bengal asked to study the anthropological study of your district.
Of my district, yes.
Yes.
So the question is, what should I suggest?
Yes, what should you suggest to improve the, say, development of the district?
Right. So Darjeeling district as a whole is mainly a hilly region. So you have a dispersed population, but you have specific people of specific ethnicity who are a majority. For example, the Lepcha people. So what I would suggest is, and sir, it has been in the news that the Lepcha people are making efforts to try to conserve their own traditions. Very recently, not very recently, Lepcha Museum has come up. So I would suggest that the government takes steps to understand or study anthropologically the Lepcha, the Khampis and the Dorji people, and do a comparative study between them and come up with ground level steps to conserve their traditions.
Ultimately, there was a demand for the separate Darjeeling
Gorkhaland, yes, sir.
Gorkhaland. So is it not connected with these anthropological studies?
Definitely, sir, it is. It is, sir.
So how will you solve that problem?
So anthropologically speaking, if we talk about any ethnopolitical movement, the basic thing is that it's a movement that starts because of some external influence, which tries to change the way of life of people who have been residing for a long time. In this case, the Gorkhas and the Lepchas. So the basic problem is, the basic reason is that these are ethnically different people and geographically different from the mainstream population of West Bengal. Not the mainstream population, but the plain population.
Plain areas.
Plain areas, yes, sir. So the basic approach would be to create developmental measures so that these people do not feel left out. That would be, in a nutshell, what anthropology would suggest. Because it's always an external influence which creates a change in the life of people. That would be the one-line thing. For
what are the various issues with the Pakistan? Because we have the various issues with the Pakistan. Na?
Yes, sir.
So what are the, say, 5 concrete issues with the Pakistan?
So the first issue is of the border, because Pakistan has illegally acquired or illegally stayed over in the Gilgit-Baltistan as well as in the what they call the Azad Kashmir region. That's one. The second reason is state as well as non-state support for terror infrastructure. That's the second reason. The third reason would be the lack of diplomatic connections between the two countries. The fourth reason would be there is almost negligible trade today between the two countries. So that's the economic front. And so the fifth reason, I cannot recall any fifth reason. That would be the 4 things that come to my mind, sir.
What are the means? First is border issue.
Yes, sir.
Then say terrorism. Then say
economic
reasons.
Diplomatic relations are not there.
And we have the social relations also, because we were the part of the same land.
Right, sir. So yeah, that can be the fifth thing, that there is lack of people to people contact.
People to people contact.
Yes, sir.
And then ultimately we are not good relations with China, we are not having good relations with Pakistan, we are not having good relations with Nepal, only good relation we can say with Bhutan, and not good relations with Sri Lanka and Burma also. So can we say that our diplomacy or basically foreign policy have totally failed?
No, sir, definitely not. The reasons we have not so favorable relations with these countries is because of India has always stood its own ground, and it's not just the relation between India and that country that we should see. It's always there can also be an external factor. For example, in Sri Lanka, like you mentioned, there is the factor of China, who have been operating debt trap diplomacy because of and there is a constant change of political power there. So there is always a back and forth between the relations. And but I would say, sir, that a lot remains to be desired in the way how we promise on projects and deliver them, because there is sometimes a delay. And there is also a question of big brotherly attitude that some countries allege. But on a whole, I would not say India's diplomacy has failed, but India's diplomacy is strong. So that is evidenced by the fact that we have BRICS as well as Quad groupings. So these are two completely different and somehow opposing things, but still India is part of both.
So you have your engineering from the Delhi College of Engineering.
Yes, sir.
Where is it?
It's in Bawana Road. It's in Shabad Daulatpur, sir.
So where was it before this location?
It was near Kashmiri Gate, as far as I remember. Then it shifted.
Basically. Yep. So basically engineering.
Yes, sir.
We are 5th largest manpower of the world, technical manpower of the world. We are the space power, we are the atomic power, nuclear power, and all these things. But still we are having the very poor quality of the technical labor force. What are the various reasons?
Sir, the first reason would be that the curriculum, the pedagogy that we have in our colleges is not mostly in line with what the industry wants. This has been said that around only 40% of engineers are actually employable when they graduate out. That's the first reason, sir. The second reason I would say is lack of the original research that we do in our country. So, because of which technology is always dependent on some other country. So these are the two reasons that come to my mind, sir.
What research do we require for a simple mason?
Sorry, sir.
What research do we require for a simple mason when the people were illiterate? They
Right,
were
sir.
not having any basically formal education also. The masons, the laborers, they were more basically technical. When the Taj Mahal was built, Red Fort was built. So they are still holding the basically fort.
Right,
They are
sir.
still there. Technically, they are very sound structures. And whatever the new buildings we are having with that modern technology and modern labor force, they are disintegrating like anything.
Right, sir.
Eh?
Yes, sir. That we
So
can
what
say.
is the basic thing which is we are not able to impart in the public minds?
So, it's also a question of how we look at solving a problem. We try to find quick solutions to things, which we call jugaad. That is not something that is sustainable. So I'm not sure about the question, sir. What exactly are you asking, sir?
So is it not correct that we are lacking technical manpower and all these things basically?
We have enough workforce, but the skilling of the workforce is something that we need to work on, sir. Skilling with requirement to the industry, not just skilling. Because skilling, the numbers are there, but it's the quality that matters.
And that quality that matters.
Yes.
So we were having 3 farm laws.
Yes, sir.
So what were the main basically benefits for those laws?
When they were in place, sir. So the first thing was the farmers had a freedom to sell outside the regulated mandis. The second was there was a mechanism for contract farming and a mechanism for dispute redressal for that. And so the third was there was de-escalation of the regulation for I'm forgetting the name of the law. It's the seizures and people were hoarding materials, right? The Essential Commodities
Essential
Act.
Commodity
Yes, sir.
Act.
Yes, sir. So that has been that was deregulated. People had freedom to hoard as well as not hoard, but have more amount of stock. So that gave an incentive for infrastructure development in agriculture as well. So these were the basic benefits of the farm laws. It was more in line with market mechanism, is a way to sum up.
So then why the government withdrew the acts?
So primarily because of the pressure from the various pressure groups. For example, in Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, Haryana and Punjab, we had farmer protests. So the government felt that it was wise to bring back a law which is being vociferously opposed by the people, and that was the reason so why it was brought back.
Last question. 3 wars, major wars, which changed the entire history of the country.
Of India, so of the country.
Yes.
So the 1962 war, because there was Chinese incursion into the Aksai Chin region on that. The 1971 war, I would say, because that created us, that of course created Bangladesh as a nation, who became our ally, and but it also created the problem of illegal refugees or illegal migrants or refugees. And so the third one would be the Kargil war, because it did a very interesting thing that it brought various sections. For example, we had the regiment from Punjab, and before that there was a issue of integration of Punjab into the mainland, and Punjabis fought very valiantly in the Kargil war. So in a way, Kargil helped integrate Punjab region better with the mainland India. Also, it brought in reforms, for example, satellite-based imagery for military intelligence. So these are the 3 things that 3 wars. Sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
But when is your interview?
It's on 11th, sir.
11th. You have a fortnight, roughly. Good. Abhijit, you are very good. You
Thank you, sir.
read instead of taking more marks. At the most, take one, if at all. You want to take mark around 6th or 7th.
I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't.
No, your interview is on 11th, right?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Say 3-4 days before the interview date, you may take one more mark somewhere, wherever you want to.
So
the current affairs will be important.
It's just that I feel a little scared to take a mock just before the interview, because if by chance it doesn't go that
no,
well.
it's not necessary. What I mean is, now because you have almost
Not more than one, if at all you want to take.
one more you can take, because almost 10-12 days are there.
Right, sir.
And the PM is visiting number of countries. The statements he is making and all that. Those will be very important. If you appear before somebody might ask that way, it will help you.
And the best place for that is the newspaper, right, sir?
Not necessarily. If you have friends with whom you can discuss, fine. You see, the people like you are appearing among yourself. If you ask question and discuss also, it can help. Otherwise, if you want to be very formal, coming in a formal dress, the way you walk in, the way you say, I mean, it's a sort of a thing. No harm. If you have time and if you can think of an institution, take it around the 5th or so. Because 11th is your interview, 5th or 6th.
Right, sir.
So that, things which might have missed your attention,
Yes, sir.
they can bring it
Yes,
to
sir.
you. So just to gear you up, So otherwise you don't need, read about happenings in West Bengal. Because a lot is happening, very dynamic leader is there, West Bengal. So keep track, because you should be aware. Don't give your opinion, good or bad or anything.
Right, sir.
If something is thrown at you about West Bengal,
Right, sir.
you say, as per you have been in Delhi, as per newspaper report, this is what you find. Stop at that.
Okay,
Because
sir.
you are in Delhi, you don't know. Isn't it? Last 1 or 2 weeks you must have been here.
Yes, sir.
So the inside story you may not know and you need not know also. You just say this is what has happened. If it is some bad incident, you say unfortunate, like a diplomat. You say unfortunate incident has happened. Otherwise you just say what's there. But keep track of happenings in West Bengal.
Yes, sir.
So a lot is happening there. Shatrughan Sinha getting elected as MP from there. Imagine. So a lot of dynamics is happening. And then that ex-minister, now he has joined TMC. He has also become Hassan. Now from Baliganj, who has got elected? He was the minister.
He is a singer.
A singer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, what is his name? I forget.
Babul Supriyo.
Babul Supriyo. Like that, just remember major things happening there. And you are interested. Cricket, you are not interested.
Not to put on that level of interest.
Not in that. But the thing you mentioned about Tendulkar and about
Yes, sir.
civil services, that was very nice.
Thank
I
you,
wish they ask you.
Thank you, sir.
I think they are bound to ask you, because
I
very
hope so,
rarely
sir.
we get somebody, composing reflective poems. People may say they are interested in reading such poems, but you are right yourself, composing it. So I'm sure they will ask you to recite. So if you do this, that will take you through,
Thank you,
honestly. Good. Then the economic survey and budget, you see, Yojana of March issue. Are you aware? It's a
The
publication of
Yojana,
the
yes, sir,
Planning
but I have
Commission.
not read the March.
No, you buy that, 30 rupees. It's very good. There are 9 articles on budget.
Right, sir.
They are taken up each subject, health, education, infrastructure, etc. by eminent people. Finance Secretary has also written one article on the overall budget. So, and there's a little box in each article. See that on health, education, etc. If you see that, that's good enough. What is the total, what percentage of GDP it is there, etc., etc. And on economic survey, 4-page summary is there. Economic survey.
In the Yojana.
In the Yojana.
Yes.
In the Yojana thing. So do that, and I think you should make it. Your dress and all is very good.
Sir, I was a little confused about the beard. Is this fine?
No, beard, I don't know. I personally would prefer a clean shave.
Clean shave.
It should be a clean shave so that it is not a close shave. You know what is a close
Yes,
shave?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Close shave now.
So it should be a clean shave. Okay?
The day before the thing, I should be.
No, you need. No,
On that very day, if you take precaution, then nothing will happen.
You cut yourself, is it?
नहीं, वो कह रहे हैं एक दिन पहले कर
नहीं,
लेंगे।
sir. But yeah, I can do it on that day.
No, but what is your fear? You are cut
ऐसा
yourself.
कुछ नहीं होगा कि
वो थोड़ा सा fear है, sir.
Arey, go to a good barber shop and get it done.
नहीं
You
सुबह
start
टाइम नहीं होगा
doing
ना।
clean
Say not that day,
at
one day
least
before.
for 1 week.
One day before.
See, 11th.
11th. So from 3rd or 4th, you start doing clean shaving every day.
Body clock will also know
So it will know your body,
Yes,
and you will be quite, at ease with your face.
that. Right, sir.
So don't just do it just one day before. Do it for 7-8 days
Yes, sir.
continuously.
I'll do that.
Right?
सो अभिजीत यू आर अ गुड कैंडिडेट. अभिजीत का तो हमने शायद डिस्कस कर लिया था मॉक में, है ना? अभिजीत
का मतलब?
आपका नाम है ना अभिजीत?
जी सर.
हाँ. अभिजीत से तो हमने शुरू किया था शायद मॉक में पहले. नहीं
नहीं सर.
नहीं, अभिजीत-
अच्छा, अभिजीत का कौन है? अभिजीत जानते ही होंगे, नोबेल लॉरिएट.
अच्छा, हाँ, yes sir. But we didn't start on that.
ओके, विद होम ही शेयर्ड नोबेल प्राइज,
Yes,
वो भी
sir.
पता
Yes,
होगा.
yes.
और कितने इकोनॉमिस्ट हैं वो भी पता ही होगा. अपने यहाँ से नाम
बंगाल
आप ले
से भाई
सकते हैं,
अमर्त्य
बहुत सारे
सेन.
नाम
Yes,
ले
sir,
तो
yes, sir.
सकते हैं.
My
Bengal is a
teacher-
very rich country, culture and all these things. So anything can be invested.
बैरकपुर
Yes, sir.
हिस्टोरिकल
Yeah.
इम्पोर्टेंस है.
Then Ravindra Sangeet.
Yes.
अपने डेव से रिलेटेड और करंट अफेयर से रिलेटेड
बंगाल
व्हाटएवर
का तो ये
एक्सपेक्टेड
साहब है,
क्वेश्चंस
बताइए.
आर देयर,
हाँ.
प्रिपेयर देम वेल.
Who is there? Bengal ka.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
why, that's what I'm saying, ki when you write that your reflective poetry and all that, so try to know the things about poetry and prose of Bengal, which is contemporary as well as historical. Michael Madhusudan Dutt, you must know what he has written, poetry. and what-
Sheishomai is his.
Seisama is written by Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay. He is a very, very, very known figure
Yes.
of Bengal literature.
Yes, sir.
You must know a few books about Sunil Gangopadhyay, right? So that you may be asked, there are probably high probability that you may be asked questions about Bengal poets and Bengal prose writers. Because Rabindranath Tagore is a quite repeated subject. It's a quite oft repeated subject. So they may not ask Rabindranath Tagore at all.
Yes,
Right.
now it's very
Yeah.
all.
Ah.
Or Vivekananda,
So-
they can ask Swami Vivekananda.
So think about Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay. Seisamai is a very important novel.
Right.
Of
Sir, and you asked Teen Bigha. What is that, sir?
Teen Bigha is in Kuch Bihar, where there is a land swapping took place 1-2
With
years back.
Bangladesh.
The
Bangladesh.
enclaves.
Ah,
That's in Teen Bigha.
yes.
Okay, so I was not aware.
So that is very important. That is one of the most important agreement with Bangladesh, where
Right.
we got some confidence with Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina Wajid became our friend. Only after that, because we swapped these enclosures,
Enclaves,
land
yes.
enclaves with Bangladesh on the initiative of Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji. So very important. Another issue is still lingering on. That is the Farakka barrage issue, where they want big good waters. We don't
Yes.
want to give good waters.
Teesta also.
Farakka, Teesta water. So that is another issue that is pending, right? So these are the third is your hilsa phase. We are getting imported lot of hilsa from Bangladesh, right? So that is a big issue because Bengal is also fish loving people. So the local things and Bengal violence. Birbhum violence is different, and Bengal as just post-poll violence of Bengal is different. Only 2 days back, hundreds and hundreds of your lawyers from Calcutta High Court, they came to Delhi and they met the President of India, and they had a candle march at India Gate, and they demanded inquiry, and they demanded all such type of things. I think 200 lawyers they attended that this thing. That
So these sort of news is available.
is available in all channels.
Daily
or
newspaper.
except the channels, written media,
In
newspaper.
written on newspaper also. I
Daily
read it in
newspaper,
newspapers.
yes. Today's newspaper, day before
I read
yesterday.
it in
they-
newspapers. Because in Bengal, once you say in Bengal, then you must know in Bengal, like your chicken snack is also famous due to not only Doklam, but there is another issue that extremist left organization people, some people, they are behind bars. Sarjil Imam or something.
He made
Umar
this
Khalid.
statement that we are going to take this issue, and then he is put behind bar.
So वो NSA उस पे लगा हुआ है. तो वो all these things, that is a sensitive area. So you must know all these issues, which are going on nowadays. तो ये सब चीजें हैं. तो the idea is that go through television, news, go to paper, and know about your Bengal. Know about your Bengal economy, Bengal ecology, mangroves, Sundarbans, right? Such type of, and the writers, specifically writers and poets.
Right, sir.
Contemporary writers and writers who have written 100 or 200 years back during freedom movement.
So, because Bengal has contributed a lot as far as the literary field is concerned. So, you must be quite aware of all these things. And there is a high probability that you may be asked questions on this, because once they come to know that you write poems and all that, so they'll talk about
reflective
it.
poems. And what is it?
You have done well. You have
Yeah,
done
very
well.
good. Akta Chalo, what is that? That is one Akta Chalo, Akta Chalo. What is that?
That's a Robindra Songit,
Yeah.
which has been.
What is the meaning of that? Go alone.
If no one is with you,
Yeah.
then you take the courage and go alone.
Jodi
Exactly.
tor ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে. So that is a Rabindranath Tagore. Santiniketan is also in news.
Yeah, Santiniketan.
Santiniketan is also in news. Right?
Yes.
And from Santiniketan you come to Birbhum, because it is district Birbhum, and then Birbhum you come to this problem. This problem of this killings.
Santiniketan will have 100 years this year.
Yes, 100 years. Santiniketan ki, uski vice, who are the vice chancellors, what are the courses, how the Santiniketan University is different from other university. Right? So, who is the chancellor of Santiniketan University?
So how is it different, sir? I'm not aware.
Huh?
I'm not aware. How is it different?
The way of teaching.
Oh, okay. The pedagogy is very open-minded.
So they teach
Yes,
teach
sir.
openly, you know, on
Right,
the
sir. Tree के नीचे.
in the tree के पेड़ के नीचे बैठ के पढ़ाते हैं सब.
Syllabus and all that. No?
हाँ.
But can you compare Nalanda with now Ashoka University, is it?
हाँ.
Ashoka and Santiniketan.
नहीं.
नालंदा का तो नाम नालंदा ही है।
नालंदा तो वही है, अलग है.
हाँ,
अशोका
और
is
फर्स्ट
here.
उसके कौन हुए चांसलर?
Yes.
जब रिकंस्ट्रक्ट की गई, अभी जो की गई,
नालंदा।
चांसलर
The new.
I don't know, so I'll have to.
डॉक्टर अमृत्या सेन,
he was the
चांसलर,
No, he
चांसलर,
has given up now.
फर्स्ट
Now he has
फर्स्ट
given up.
चांसलर मैं कह रहा हूँ,
first vice chancellor of
नहीं,
Nalanda.
नॉट वाइस चांसलर, चांसलर,
Chancellor. He was chancellor.
From US he was operating, but then he has given. I mean,
हाँ,
there
अब
was
नहीं
some
है, अब
problem.
नहीं।
They didn't extend. He
अब
was
नहीं
keen, but
अब
they-
नहीं है।
अभी और कोई somebody has been appointed.
Yeah.
Any point from your side?
No, sir. You've covered actually everything.
Ah, very good. You should make it. 100%. Good.
आई थिंक थोड़ा
अच्छा,
सा
दो
जगह जगह एक आधी बार ठीक है, अगर अवॉइड कर सके तो अच्छा है, नहीं तो कोई ऐसी खास बात नहीं।
अच्छा,
Sir, क्या-
आई थिंक यू आर वेरी हैबिचुअल ऑफ सेइंग आई थिंक, इफ यू कैन अवॉइड दैट, कम से कम आपने 15-20 बार कहा
सर,
है
कौन सा पार्ट समझ नहीं आया?
आई थिंक
अच्छा, अच्छा, I think.
you often use these
while
words.
replying
Yes,
or
sir.
reacting,
Yes, sir.
don't say I think.
Sure, sir.
Obviously,
try to avoid if you can, if you can't then no issue.
Yeah, don't make major changes in
And
your
one more thing, instead of saying directly disagreeing with the member who is asking the question, it is better to say, sir, I beg to differ on this ground.
Be little more modest.
ठीक है ना, modest है,
Yes, sir.
graceful.
rather than directly. आपका सही था जो आपने कहा, I am not saying that.
But my
Whatever you replied, that was okay. पूछा था ना एक question, तो उसमें बस
India's foreign
sir, I
policy.
beg to differ. I beg to differ on this ground.
Yes, sir. Yes, I think.
Overall, you have done well.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
not
should
only
make it.
well, very well.
Very well.
Thank you, sir.
Only thing is, I wish they ask you to recite that point.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
And
wish.
also,
Sir,
a bit more on.
Now it depends.
I've thought that
Yeah.
at
A bit
the end
more
they
on,
ask that
you know,
if you have any
Kolkata's-
question to ask, right? At the end of the interview.
UPSC में ना,
हाँ.
UPSC में वो कहते हैं, कभी कभी ऐसा क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, एनी क्वेश्चन फॉर अस,
Yes, sir.
तो उसमें आप यही कहेंगे
कि
सर,
it's my honor if I could recite
नहीं
this.
नहीं नहीं, बस
No, no, no,
नहीं
not
नहीं
that.
नहीं नहीं, वो नहीं, वो कभी कभी ये कहते हैं कि would you like to ask any question from us, ऐसा करके कहते हैं,
हाँ sir.
तो
then you
उसमें
have to
आपको यही
understand.
कहना है, nothing sir, I enjoyed the conversation,
Bas.
thank you very much sir,
Sure.
nothing in particular sir,
Don't
I
ask
enjoyed the
question
conversation.
about
Don't
how
ask
they
any
have
question
performed.
and don't
Not
say any
for
explanation.
Mark you are giving, you know.
Don't say, don't recite, and if they,
हाँ कहेंगे तभी.
अच्छा ठीक है.
Thank you very much.
From
I
your-
enjoyed the conversation. Thank you very much, sir.
and from your side, don't give ki I want to recite a poem. And
Yeah.
if they ask, well and
ठीक है,
good.
sir.
If they don't ask,
I'm sure they will ask because you are written it
Yes.
so boldly.
कुछ भी हो सकता है.
Yes. Lucky बात है.
लगती
Lucky
बात
बात
है.
है.
आपने बड़े अच्छे से रिसाइट
That is your trump card.
Thank you, sir.
If they ask, well, you had it. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
All the best.
Thank you.
all the best.
Okay, all the best. Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank
हो
you.
जाएगा.